Alright, so I was actually working on my Savitar theory number 2, and I realized that it has a lot to do with time remnants, and I haven't made a video explaining what time remnants are. So I figured, why not? It'll take a few minutes, let's do it. So this video is going to be focusing on time remnants. I'm going to use evidence from the show to explain what time remnants are, and then I'm going to use the literal definition as well, and then we're going to tie those things together, and hopefully by the end of this video you guys will be on the same page with me as to what a time remnant really is. So let's get started. Okay, so time remnants, also known as the most confusing part of the Flash. So, the literal definition of a time remnant is the following. A time remnant is the remain or remnant of an aborted or deleted timeline, which is protected by the Speed Force in order to preserve the current timeline that, the Speedster is on. So this happens whenever an aborted timeline event was actually the reason that led to the current timeline existing in the first place. So throughout Season 2, there's a bit of a misconception as to what timeline remnants are, and I actually have a clip from Season 2, Episode 11, in which Harry from Earth 2 describes and explains to the team what a timeline remnant is. And instead of telling you guys what it is, I'm going to play the clip, and then we'll talk about it after.
Thon died, so Eobard Thon should have been erased out of existence, right?
Not necessarily. It's is possible Eobard was in the Speed Force, protecting him like a bomb shelter, keeping him alive and his timeline intact. It's what's known as a timeline remnant.
What now?
Here, let me show you. This is now, here, today. This is the time Thon comes from. This is the moment you all erased him from existence, but since Thon is from the future, this is where his timeline begins. That's why he's still alive. This Thon has not yet traveled back in time to kill Barry's mother. He's here now in this time period for the first time. Timeline remnant.
Explains why nothing's changed.
Yeah, it also explains why he didn't know my name.
Now, I don't think I have to remind anybody who's watching this video that the Speed Force is a complicated thing. They do a very okay job of explaining it, but it's not a great, explanation of what the Speed Force is. But in a short summary, the Speed Force really has one job. It's the source of any speedster's power of their speed, how they get their speed. Their only job, the Speed Force's only job, is to maintain and preserve the timeline. That's why every time that a speedster goes back in time and alters the timeline, the Speed Force sends the time wraiths. Now it starts sending the Black Flash, because they took Hunter Solomon and turned him into the Black Flash so that he can enforce the Speed Force laws. So that's like the one job that the Speed Force really focuses on, keeping all these other speedsters in check, making sure that they don't break these laws. Now, in the Season 2 story arc, they do an okay job of explaining what time remnants are, but what they don't do is explain that there's actually two different kinds of time remnants. Now, the first kind of time remnant is the definition that Harry just gave. Basically, that type of time remnant is protected by the Speed Force. So that's the first kind. The first kind of time remnant is protected by the Speed Force, actively protected by the Speed Force. The second kind of time remnant is not protected by the Speed Force. In fact, the Speed Force actively sends the Black Flash or a Time Wraith. I'm not sure if they do both now or if they just do the Black Flash. But yeah, the Speed Force sends the Black Flash to kill any speedster time remnant that is not supposed to exist, because they could potentially harm the flow of the timeline, and that's the Speed Force's job, to maintain the timeline. So the first kind of time remnant is known as the time remnant that is is actively protected by the Speed Force. And the reason that the Speed Force shields and protects remnants like this that shouldn't even exist in the first place is because this past time remnant had not yet traveled to the year 2000 and attempted to kill Barry and ended up killing Nora Allen, which in effect created this alternate timeline that the show starts on in Season 1. So, for example, let's say Barry didn't let Eobard Thawne go back to the future. That would cause catastrophic changes to the timeline. For example, in this same episode, you see that Cisco is dissipating into thin air because Eobard Thawne's presence in the past was a reason and a cause for Cisco's, not his existence because he already existed, but him being Vibe is a cause, or sorry, is an effect of Eobard Thawne causing changes to the past. So that's what the first type of time remnant is. It's a past time remnant that's protected by the Speed Force in order to keep the flow of the timeline intact. Alright, so the second type of time remnant that exists in the Flash universe is the time remnant that has no effect on the timeline and is not protected by the Speed Force. And the reason is quite simple to why it's not the time remnants are not protected by the Speed Force. The Speed Force will only protect the time remnant from any ramifications that will happen in the future to that remnant if they are a vital part to the past. So, for example, like I said in Eobard's case, that past time remnant had not yet gone to the past to alter the timeline. So, if say he would have died, or just they would have just left him there and not sent him back home, it would have messed up the timeline so bad. I don't even know if you could repair it. But that's why the Speed Force was protecting Eobard Thawne's past time remnant. The reason that it doesn't protect Zoom's time remnants and Barry's time remnant the way it protected Eobard Thawne's time remnant is because these remnants are from the past, but they're almost instantly from the past. They were created seconds before. So it's not like he went back a year and grabbed his time remnant from there to help him out. No. He went back seconds before he even time traveled. In fact, you can't even see him time travel. That's how fast and how quickly he traveled back seconds and just created another, basically a copy, because those remnants are not protected by the Speed Force. That's why Zoom is able to kill almost, I think he kills 3 or 4 of his time remnants throughout the whole season. And then at the end of season 2, that's why Barry creates that time remnant, and that time remnant is able to sacrifice himself to stop the Magnetar without having any effect on our current Barry, because that time remnant was not protected by the Speed Force, seeing as how he would have no impact on the timeline. And that's the Speed Force's job, to preserve and protect the flow of the current timeline. So since those since those time remnants had no effect on the current flow of the timeline, the Speed Force did not bother in protecting them, because they weren't even supposed to exist. Similar to what happened, if I don't know if you guys watched Legends of Tomorrow, in the season finale, that Eobard Thawne is the same Eobard Thawne that was created or became to be in season 3, episode 1 of The Flash. After Flashpoint was reversed and everything was supposed to go back to normal, you can see that he speeds off and he tells Barry, "We'll see you sometime soon, Flash." That's why he wasn't erased from his existence and just dissipated into thin air, because he wasn't supposed to exist in the first place, but the Speed Force has enforcers that are going to make sure that that Eobard Thawne remnant gets destroyed before he can cause any more changes to the timeline, to the flow of the current timeline. So there you have it, guys. Those are the two different types of time remnants. One of them is protected by the Speed Force. The second type of time remnant is not protected by the Speed Force. So in a summary, the Speed Force focuses on preserving and protecting the flow of the timeline. If a past time remnant were to have an impact on the timeline for whatever reason, it would send the Black Flash to destroy them and erase them from existence. So that's it. That's what time remnants are. As far as I can explain them, maybe I have it wrong, maybe I don't. If you guys think I missed something, please let me know in the comment section. But that's gonna do it for this video. I do have a second video coming out in a few hours. I'm almost done with it. It's my Savitar Theory number 2, and I'll have it out soon. I'm working on it right now. Thanks again for watching, guys. And if you like what you see and you want to see some more, just give me a like and a subscription, and I'll get out some more videos for you guys as the show keeps progressing. Thanks again.